Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good year for the roses, and welcome to the madness that is the Charlie Marx Show. I'm Charlie Marx, and the question is, why do older people believe that it's alright to stop and have a conversation in the most awkward places? This then leads to the further question, why are the councils not building lay-bys for the elderly to have a chat? A quick reminder to please like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications and follow the Charlie Marx Show. Also, please share, as sharing is daring. You can also leave me a comment, or why not join the show by telling me what's bugging you in the world with the Devil's Advocate. I can also be spied upon by you visiting www.charliemarx.co.uk. And you can also buy me a coffee, which is not an actual coffee, but a pretend coffee. Coming up on tonight's show, we have all the latest fake news from around the world and beyond from the CM Newsroom, and moans and groans and things that go irk in the night with the Devil's Advocate, plus lots more. But first, some nautical tales with a religious spin in Travels with Pope Eye.
Ha-har! I am Popeye the Third, and tonight I'm going to take you on a nautical adventure called Jonah and the Mackerel. Jonah was a fisherman who lived many, many years ago, and one day he went out in his boat, whale of a time. He was a fisherman who liked to load up his boat with his fishing rods, his lures, and the sandwiches his wife had made him for the journey. It had to be said that Jonah and his wife were not a wealthy couple, as they could only afford 2 holidays a year. And it was believed to be the case that if the fish didn't pick up, they were in danger of not being able to pay their Amazon Prime account. Thus, the need to go fishing and take the fish to market was exceptionally important. Jonah set out in his boat that morning and went to look for the elusive mackerel. But as he sailed along the quiet waters of the Albi Dams, a sudden wave hit the boat, knocking him over into the waters. He clambered to get back to the boat. And suddenly, out of the corner of his eye, he saw the biggest mackerel he had ever seen. The beast must have weighed in excess of 10 pounds and swam towards him in what could only be described as quite quickly. As Jonah held onto the side of the boat, the mackerel blasted into the side, this time moving the boat from Jonah. Jonah clambered, splashing in the water, but realized very quickly that the boat had moved too far away from him to catch it. He thought that his life was over, but the mackerel swam away. A bright light emerged through the clouds, and a voice from the heavens looked down on Jonah, saying, "Have you got a permit to fish here?" Jonah looked up, but there was nobody about. Now, we can say it was the good Lord himself looking out for a member of his flock. Or indeed, it could have been Mr. Smith from the local shop. But either way, Jonah was saved from this killer mackerel that day. Sadly, however, he did not make his quota of fish, and the family had to give up their monthly subscription to Amazon.
Welcome back to the Charlie Marx Show, you gorgeous people, you. There has been a lot of talk about migrants arriving on these shores in small boats. Apparently this has outraged many people, but be assured that as long as these migrants, illegal or not, are liking and subscribing to the Charlie Marx Show, then we should leave them be. Of course, if they are not subscribing to the Charlie Marx Show, we should send them back immediately. Still much more to come, but now it's time for all the latest fake news from around the world and beyond with CM News.
Good evening and welcome to CM News with me, Diana Ross. Our middle story. A countrywide search has begun for the missing backbone of Prime Minister Sir Keith Stammer. The backbone went missing on the day before Sir Keith was due to meet President Orange. The search continues. In under an hour's time, the annual game fair will take place in the Highlands of Scotland. The annual event, which takes place every 3 years, was set up to show the beauty of the countryside and the amazing natural wildlife within it. Everyone is welcome to attend, and there will be such family events as deer shooting, badger culling, grouse shooting and fox murdering. Over 1,000 British children were sent to a European concentration camp to try and stop them from being on their phones and screens. An hour later, the warden of the European concentration camp, Mr. Heinz Beans, sent the children back, saying that they couldn't concentrate for more than 3 minutes. A big ship has sunk to the bottom of the sea. The big ship was sailing on the Alio on the last day of September when a freak wave capsized the ship. There was only one survivor, the second mate, who managed to get off the boat before it sank and into a life raft. Although the life raft could have safely taken all 7 of the crew, the second mate said that he liked to put his feet up. And that was the latest headlines. This is Diana Ross for CM News. Good night.
Thank you, Miss Ross, and more from the CM Newsroom next time. But now it's time for a very lovely section of the show, where some children from a local primary school have sent us in questions to ask our special guest. So, without further ado, let's go live via satellite to hear the replies to the kiddies from our very special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Don Donald Caputz.
Buona Jovi, Buona Jovi. Normally, I would not be answering such a question, but the Charlie Marx Show has asked me on this day of my great-grandmother's wedding to speak to the young children of today, and no Don can refuse a request on the day of his grandmother's wedding. So I will. Okay, James, being a gangster is not easy, and homework will make you vengeful, and vengeance is what you need to be to succeed. Be a successful hood. To become a gangster, you will need to go to gangster school, where you will study jawbreaking, kneecapping, and drug running 101. Tagliatelle or a lasagna. Yes, I can, but I don't take many holidays because I'm always either taking out rival families or washing my hair. Alfa Romeo, Fiat 500, Little Marnie. I used to have a horse, but I had to sell him on eBay to a company that gave horses away with free beds. You should think very carefully before putting a hit out on anyone, because if you get caught, then you may get grounded. And yes, we do various discounts depending on what time of year it is. For example, there is a Christmas carjacking, the Halloween hanging, and the Thanksgiving throttling. Check out our prices at www.vengeance.com. Parma, Verone, Rimini, Bologna. I think it's always good to spend time with family, especially out in the middle of the lakes when nobody is around. I have taken many trips with family over the years, and it's always been dead good. Andrea Bocelli, Luciano Pavarotti. This is a stereotype that makes me very upset. I listen to lots of... Actually, I do only listen to Frank Sinatra. Sofia Loren, Leonardo DiCaprio. They say it's best to keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. But I think this only causes cramped conditions, especially when you're in an elevator. For this reason, I have no friends, which makes my mother quite sad. Meatball, carbonara, fina dina. I am usually driven to nightclubs, or if we're going out to check out how the drug business is doing. But I do like the car we have in our family at this time. It is a Francis Ford Fiesta. Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Martin Scorsese. I hate violence of any kind, so I will probably die by violence. However, I am scared that I might be crushed by a cello one day. Yeah, Ferrari Enzo, Joe Pesci. My advice to you, young man, would be to make him an orphan he can't refuse.
Lovely. But now back by popular demand, it's album review. Hello, welcome to album review. We're doing one today. It's by the Boring Drones, live at the Hoa Chinese restaurant. The band are MC Dictator, Electric Heel, and Orange Dawn. Quite a heavy album, even though they've only got 2 acoustic guitars and a mandolin. As you can see, Orange Dawn is the one on the mandolin. Now, I listened to this album, and I've got to say, the Boring Drones were never one of my favourite artists, but I think since Nigel Fridge left, it has taken on a less anti-Semitic feel to it. The songs aren't as repulsive as they once were. But this show, live at the Hoa Chinese restaurant, it was probably, I think, if I remember correctly, their only ever live show. So it really didn't. It captured them live at that time, and after that they decided they weren't going to play any more live gigs due to the fact they couldn't get any more live gigs. So yeah, I would give it a listen to the Boring Drones. Probably you won't like it, but in saying that, you might. So it is worth a shot. It is priced at, because it's a rarity, because they only ever played one gig, it's priced at quite highly for this album. You can get it online, but it seems to be building up higher and higher with it becoming a collector's item. So I think it goes way up to maybe $3.99. And that's a ridiculous amount of money to pay for that. But anyway, is a collector's item, so it might be worth a listen to. Next we have ZZ Tora. She's got Chutzpah. ZZ Tora are a heavy rock band in the style of, I would say, your kind of Texan sort of music, even though they are from Barrhead. The two fellas in it, we don't know what their names are because we can't find anything on them. It doesn't really come up with anything, and if you Google ZZ Tora, she's got Chutzpah, you will find that it's not found. So on finding that it's not found, well, you'll find that out. So it was quite a heavy album. It was their first album. Got it here in a charity shop for 99 pence. But I was lucky. I was very lucky there, because it was, some places were charging £1.50 for it. So, you can be lucky if you shop around some of the charity shops. Some of the charity shops are getting very expensive. For example, one of the charity shops that I went into, they had this album and it was a bit scratched, but they wanted $6,500. So, depends where you shop. But I would say that ZZ Tora are a heavy rock band. They are into the guitars. They do have a drummer and a keyboard player, but these guys are Catholics, so they weren't allowed to appear on the album cover. So my advice would be to have a look at it. Just take it home, see what you think. You could steal it from a shop and then return it if you don't like it. I don't think it's one of these albums that will take off as such. I don't think the record company's put enough into promoting it, because so far it's only been advertised in synagogues and delis. So, have a listen, see what you think. I would give this probably about 3 out of 10 just now. Although there are some good songs. Shabbos, Bloody Shabbos was one. That was an excellent song. Quite heavy, quite riffy. And then there was other songs like Born to Be at My Bar Mitzvah. So some good tracks on there, but there's more bad tracks than good tracks. But again, give it a listen to. So that's my albums of the week review, or the month, or whatever we decide to call this section, because it's gone through so many. Well, this album's also quite round, so it does play on your record player, which is good. Anyway, tune in next time. There'll be more album reviews. Now back to the studio. Incredible. And we'll be back next time for more reviews on what's hot and what's medium in the album of the week. But now it's time for another roundup of moans and groans and things that go irk in the night with the Devil's Advocate. Today's youth have absolutely no concentration whatsoever. The only way they can concentrate is in short bursts through platforms like TikTok and other media I don't know about. When I think back to when I was a kid, I could focus on one thing for as long as it lasted. Sure, there were no screens to pull me away, but there was also the desire to see the outcome of what my attention was on and not miss something. A couple of examples now to show you what I mean. And whilst I'm telling you these examples, ask yourself if your children could make it from start to finish. The first Superman movie with Christopher Reeve took almost an hour before we even saw the Man of Steel. We had to go through all the Jor-El, Marlon Brando's story, and then just as we thought we were going to see the man fly, we had to go through young Clark's life in Smallville. But we sat through it because we were promised that we would see a man fly. And we did. I will never forget when the mask of Marlon Brando turned and moved towards the camera. And there he was in all his glory. And then he flew. Just like they promised he would. The people in the theatre cheered, and I don't think the goosebumps from my neck left. The second example took place on a Friday evening at 6 p.m. Monkey was a Japanese show about, well, I'm not sure exactly what it was about, but it involved travellers heading to India on a pilgrimage set by Buddha. They had to fight monsters on the way. It was the same story every week, but we watched it with amazement. It was more jumping about than kung fu and more cringe effects than CGI, but it was wholesome and fun. This show also had many young men questioning his sexuality, as the character of the priest was very attractive. Now, don't forget that this was in a time before Google, and we had no way of finding out things, so we believed we were gay from 6 until 6:30 p.m. Turned out it was a female playing the part all along, but it was a close call. No kid today could sit through anything which actually told a story because they would have to be dipping in and out of a screen in between and wriggling about in the sofa. Today's kids would rather watch gamers play games than have their imagination enhanced by a story. It's sad, and it looks as though this is going to get worse before it gets any better. But we can only hope that the internet blows up and we can go back to Monkey. Thank you for watching the Charlie Marx Show, and remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, share and follow me on www.charliemarx.co.uk. So, until next time, if you're not watching the Charlie Marx Show, I forgot what I was talking about.